Now, let's get to the biggest story in the world right now. This is the one I want to set the record straight, which is that I was watching your show and I have seen you calling out Beyonce for stealing content from our conversations.
Beyonce, who's on some world tour right now, reinventing herself as a country star, is running videotape during the show of yours truly. I believe it is a clip from me on the Paul Murray show out of Sky News Australia, which I do once a week because I adore him. Yes, believe it or not, in addition to all your great viewers, Beyonce is watching, and she's got tissue paper thin skin and was very deeply offended, Paul, that we had a discussion not recognizing Queen Bey as the new ruler of country music, that we might have had a couple of doubts about whether she would revolutionize this genre that's been around for a long time before she decided to stick her toe into it. And she decided to take that clip and parlay it into her victimhood, how people have doubted her as she becomes the country queen.
No, I'm sorry. I'm a Chris Stapleton man, all right? Hardcore, every word, every album, every song, right? I can't stand that, fine, fair enough, she's in the finals when it comes to the Grammys of Country Artist of the Year or Country Album of the Year. She beat Chris Stapleton. Not acceptable. Not okay. Just because you dress up like a country star doth not make you a country star.
Cashola. If Chris Stapleton had married Jay-Z, he would have had it. These things are bought and paid for. I mean, it's really obvious. And all of her marketing is bought and paid for by Jay-Z. If you married Jay-Z, you could be as big a star as Beyonce. And how do I know that, Paul? No offense, but if you look at her now, it's tough to tell the two of you apart. It's Beyonce is not today what she used to be.
Wow.
Still, she gets this glowing coverage everywhere because she's Queen Bey, because these two run around like a couple of mob bosses. If you write something bad about them, and there's certainly people in the music industry who need ongoing access, have to all hail and bend the knee at the altar of these two. Well, guess what? I don't need you at all. I'm not at your altar. I'm not on my knee. You didn't revolutionize country music. You're a glommer who used other people's big hits and catchy tunes to try to jump in last minute. Thanks to Jay-Z's marketing, it looks like a success, but that's true of her underlying career too. I don't like her music. I don't like her dance routines, and I don't like what she's let happen to her. And that's my opinion. Take that and put it up on your next reel, Beyonce.
I love it. We have a term in Australia for people who complain like this: sooks. All right? Sounds like that she and the bloke, that they're just giant sooks, babies, as they carry on. All right. Now,
Yes.
We know that the second Elon Musk came into Donald Trump's orbit, there was an obsession with trying to break them up or looking for signs of them breaking up. He's, he's been from, as you say, a tissue paper of distance between them. He's done his job. They punished him, blew up his cars. Now he's gone back to the private sector. And today he's decided, he's tweeting that he doesn't like the budget that is currently being pushed through. Now, what annoys me about this is that it plays into this constant obsession of the left trying to get into the will they or won't they break up, will they or won't they ever be on the same side. Elon Musk ain't going back to the left, all right? He might have the Harry hits with some of the things that are in the budget, but sorry, Dems, he ain't coming back.
There's just such a nasty, petty group of people. I don't blame Elon for objecting to the big, beautiful bill. There's a ton in there of spending that we cannot afford. Trump made a lot of promises when he was running for president that now he's trying to keep in the form of this bill. So, in one way, good on him. But in another, holy shit, we can't afford this. So that's what Elon is reacting to. He was sent in there to go try to find a bunch of fat, waste, fraud, and abuse so that he could slim the federal budget and help balance the budget in that way. And it didn't work. That's the truth. He tried. Doge is still trying. But what we're learning is the forces in Washington are just too strong. They're too dug in. The courts stopped him. The bureaucracy stopped him. And ultimately, the press helped stop him by ruining his other businesses to the point where he had no choice but to go back to manning them full time and giving up being at the helm of Doge. What Elon ultimately said is like his verdict was, I've realized it can only be done by spurring GDP. That's our only way out of this $37 trillion of debt. We have no choice but to double down on our work ethic and try to power up the engines that have always powered the American economy. We're not going to do it by cutting spending because there's no desire and there's too many obstacles. So it's sad. It's kind of a sad verdict at the end of Elon's Doge term. You would think that maybe some on the left would think, God, I was such an ass. I behaved terribly with one of the world's richest men and most brilliant humans ever to walk this little sphere we all live on, volunteered to do public service. And he's an eccentric. Look at his personal life. Look at, yes, I believe the drug use. But he wanted to work for me and for you and to just help find efficiencies in this massive business we call the United States. And instead of saying thank you, we put our boot on his forehead and shoved him back down the slide. And now he's leaving. He's disillusioned with politics. He doesn't want to spend his money in this lane anymore. And he's not so inclined to help with Doge either. Doesn't make him love the left any more than he was, at least temporarily in love with the right. But the whole thing is just a sad, dejecting commentary on how things actually work here in the country. And no one should be feeling good about it.
The terror attack on the people who have every single week since October 7 been rallying in Boulder, Colorado as a way of trying to say, hey, we see you, we remember all the people that are still being held by Hamas. CNN disgustingly, hours after everyone had seen the video, everyone had heard what he'd said, everyone knew what this was still pretending, oh, we don't know if this is a terror attack, because they were pushing back against the FBI coming out and telling us, yeah, what you saw was real and we're going to treat it that way.
That's what the FBI does. We don't step in and take over and draw conclusions 5 minutes after the attack about what happened.
You normally get the local people getting way ahead on motive and the FBI saying, we don't have it yet. You now have the opposite here. And until we know that the victims were members of that of the Jewish event, we don't have the nexus. And I will believe the Denver police chief that they do not have that nexus now. And if they do, I will be the first one out here saying that that is a hate crime. But until we do, we all need to not follow the FBI's tweets.
Not only the FBI, both the director, Kash Patel, and the deputy director, Dan Bongino, immediately said, this is obviously a terrorist attack. And that doesn't have to mean Al-Qaeda, right? You can see this guy out there setting people on fire. It's pretty obvious. You don't have to have a lot of expertise. And they were unafraid to call it what it clearly was. And to his credit, same for the Democratic governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, who said it's an act of terror, which is not exactly the same, but close enough. Only this local police chief, who's a big LGBTQ BLM type, was really confused about the motive, couldn't really say, like, let's not get ahead of ourselves and calling it a terrorist attack. And really the motive is unclear, even though the guy was like, free Palestine. Whatever could the motivation be? If only I had more time to think it over. That's literally what this local police chief said. And then CNN was like, it's a mystery. Look at the local guy. He was the responsible one, as opposed to giving some credit to one of the few times in recent history we've had an agreement between a Democratic governor and two Republican leaders at the FBI.
Megyn, we love you. We look forward to seeing you next week. In the meantime, I want everyone, SiriusXM, you get the app, or find it, podcast, YouTube, Megyn Kelly Show, best show in the world. And I have a TV show. Thank you, Megyn.
Thanks, Paul. See you next week.